This whole race, my whole career, 177 marathons, all depends on me getting to mile 24 in 30 minutes. Who knows when I'll get into this race again?
Welcome to Finish Lines and Milestones, a podcast for everyday runners. I'm your host, Allie Bretnacher, and if you run, you're a runner. And every runner has a story. Join me each week as I share these stories and we celebrate finish lines and milestones together. This week's episode is brought to you by Amazfit. Amazfit is a global smart wearable brand that designs smartwatches, fitness trackers, and health technology for active lifestyles like ours. Right now, they have a spring sale going on. So when I tell you now's the time, it really is. You can get up to 27% off certain items. I just got my Helio ring. If you're watching the video, I'll show it to you. And it is only $109. There's no additional subscription required. It's all in the Zepp app, which I also connect my Balance 2 smartwatch to. So now I don't wear my watch to sleep. I was doing that to track my sleep and it was okay, but I much prefer to sleep in just a ring versus my watch. So if you are looking to upgrade your wearables or your smartwatch, head to amazfit.com. That's AMAZFIT.com. And my code ALLYB, ALLYB, will work outside of the sale. So if you would, head to the link in the show notes to make your purchase. And thank you, Amazfit, for supporting this podcast. Before I get to this week's guest, I wanted to let you know that I have a race recap that is up both in the podcast feed and on my website, athletebouquets.com, on the blog there. So if you prefer to read, you can go there. There's links and pictures. If you prefer to listen, you can do that here, wherever you're listening to this. And I share my experience on running the St. Jude Rock and Roll DC Half Marathon, which was on Saturday, March 21st. It was really fun and really an honor to experience what it was like to run as a St. Jude hero. My hope is that it inspires others to do the same. So go check that out if you haven't already. And now this week's episode is with Sally Hed Dahlquist. She has run 178 marathons, which is just insane. Let that sink in. Marathons, 178 of them. So we talk about some of her race experiences and journeys, which I wish we would have covered more of, frankly, but we just ran out of time. We talk about how she was not expected to live past her teenage years and the impact that that has had on her life. We talk about her recent marathon in Tokyo, a little bit about how she strategized for that race, given all the cutoffs that there are, and just her overall experience there. And a non-running related topic we cover is how Sally got out of $100,000 in debt. Another marathon, if you will. And we chat about how she, after running a marathon in Antarctica, is on a quest to see all of the different penguin species of the world, which is really cool. So I know you're really going to enjoy this conversation with Sally. All right, Sally Hed Dahlquist, fresh off of the Tokyo Marathon.
Yes, Tokyo, woohoo! World major. It was my fourth world major.
Wow.
And 178 overall. It's crazy.
Yeah, guys, 178 marathons. and 200 is not that far away for you.
You know, your milestones and finish lines, that's my next goal. I can see it. It's on the horizon. I'm on my way to 200. You know, with me, I do about one a month. So
Jesus.
I should be able to finish that. I know. 2027, 2028.
So cool. So incredible.
Like that.
So before I forget, right off the bat, I want to thank Christine Anderson for introducing us.
Mm-hmm. Love Christine.
She is lovely, and she is the creator of Pure Fuel, which is one of the fuels I use for running. It's Pure Anderson's maple syrup. So shameless plug for them.
I love that stuff too. You know,
Yeah.
and she's the one who got me started on it. Otherwise, I was kind of like, well, don't you need these goos and electrolytes and all this stuff? And you know, this maple syrup actually tastes really good. Tastes a lot better. And I think my body knows what to do with it more.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
And then I can always add the electrolytes from something else.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. So thank you, Christine. And I found Pure Fuel at a race expo. I don't know. I reached out to them or something. Somehow I found my way to Christine and then had her on the podcast. And then next month at the Carmel Marathon, we will meet in person for the first time, which I am so excited about. So,
this coming month?
Yeah. And she's running the full marathon after working the expo, which is inspiring in and of itself. She's nuts. I was like, okay, well, I'll be cheering. Yeah.
Well, hopefully she's bringing her crew so somebody
Oh,
else can
yeah.
work the booth for her.
Yes, I hope I'm sure she will have help. But I want to talk about Tokyo first because that is fresh on a lot of
Yes.
people's minds, perhaps people who ran.
Yeah.
My running coach, Rachel Cinders, was over there.
Mhm, mhm.
And that was her sixth star. So that was big.
Oh, yeah, there was something like 2,000 people that were finishing their 6 stars.
That is mind blowing too.
Yeah.
So, how long did you have your sights set on Tokyo? Because I know it's just kind of hard to get into
Oh,
and do. So, did it take a while for you?
shockingly, no.
Oh, tell the people.
Last summer, on a whim, I put my name in the lottery, and then on September 19th, I got an email saying I got in.
You did
First
not.
try.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, "Honey, we're going to Tokyo." And we had gone to Japan 2 years before on a ski trip with our friends, and I was like, "Oh, I'm never gonna get in. I just gotta keep applying for these things and see how." I'm like, "Okay, we're going back. We're going back now."
Well, somebody listening is going to be like, "Well, I've tried 12 times or whatever."
I know.
It's weird how that works. That system is crazy. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
I haven't put my name in for Tokyo. I've done it for London before, maybe Berlin.
Mhm,
But yeah, I my
mhm.
lottery luck's not that great, so I don't
Y
stew over it too much.
Yeah, yeah, so my last 2 then are Chicago and Boston,
Okay.
and I'm gonna have to I didn't apply for those lotteries this year, so now I'm gonna have to start doing that, and, of course, they have charity bibs, which
Yep.
is something else I'm working on, but, yeah, those are lower priority, I just wanna get my 200, wanna have fun,
Just want to get
travel
my
the world
200.
more.
Yeah, absolutely you will. No doubt. Unstoppable. You will.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I want to hear your experience with the cutoffs because for so many people, I actually had a former podcast guest, Monique, who unfortunately wasn't able to finish because of the cutoffs. So I know that that was a real fear, a real thing. So maybe talk about that side of the experience too.
Yes. So, let me grab my bracelet so I can show you.
Oh, please.
So I put all my stuff in a 3-ring binder that I have, and this is my Tokyo page. And for
Okay.
Tokyo, I was super nervous about those cutoffs because I'm a 6-hour finisher. 5 I should be able to do 5.5, 5, but,
Yeah.
I kinda screw around and have a good time and use the bathroom and talk to
Right.
people, and so I'm super, super, super nervous about those cutoffs. And so I made 2 bracelets. Here's the metal,
Oh, yeah. Let's see the medal.
Tokyo.
So cool. I love it.
Braille, but no
Oh,
Japanese characters.
interesting.
Okay, okay. And then you also have to wear their bracelet from the expo
Okay.
packet. And then I made 2 bracelets. So
Okay.
the red one has all the cutoffs. These are the
Wow.
times.
That's a lot of
So they have
cutoffs. How many
they have
total?
9 cutoffs, and they're usually 2 to 3 miles apart. Not too bad. The tightest one was between mile 22 and mile 24. And then I made a white one, and this was my time goals, where I thought I could reasonably be and finish this thing well within these cutoffs. Because technically they have a 7-hour cutoff, but the last person crossed the start line 30 minutes late, so they only had 6.5 hours to finish. I crossed the start line 25 minutes after the gun.
Okay.
So chip time doesn't matter. It's all clock time for these cutoffs. So I know my pace pretty well. I go about 5 miles an hour for the first 10 miles, and then 4 to 4.5 after that. And I memorized these as well, but I put them on the bracelets because you know how you get marathon brain. You're like, oh,
Oh,
I don't know, was that 38.5 or 30, 38 or what? So that eighth cutoff was at 38.5 kilometers. Oh, yeah.
okay.
So my bracelets in kilometers and my times in miles.
Wow.
And I really focused on the next 2 to 3 miles I had in front of me before the next cutoff. The first 2 cutoffs, I was able to gain 10 minutes of time. So by the time I got to the third cutoff, I had 20 minutes. And I felt, okay, I can relax a little bit, but I can't stop
Right.
because 38.5, mile 24, I'm going to need extra time. I'm going to be tired by the time I get to mile 22. And my goal to get to mile 22 was at the 5-hour mark.
Okay.
So I wanted to get there at 5 hours because I started at 9:35 and I needed to get there at 2:35. Yeah,
Okay.
that's 5 hours. And then you think, "Oh, you got an hour and a half to finish the last 6 miles or last 4 miles? No problem." But really?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I got 30 minutes when I got to mile 22, according to my personal goals. I got 30 minutes to go 2 miles to get to mile 24. I can do that. No need to panic. Stay calm. maintain my steady pace, walk here and there. You're okay. But I'm like, that is not enough margin of time. And then I look at my red bracelet and go, oh, really? I actually have 45 minutes to get to mile 24. Okay, no problem. But that still doesn't feel like enough time. Something could happen. I could trip. My God.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while I'd see a volunteer with a little tiny sign that says next cutoff at 3:20. I'm like, I got an extra 5 minutes. Wow, I can relax a little bit. No, I can't. No, I can't. I could get a cramp. I got to make it to that 24. This whole race, my whole career, 177 marathons, all depends on me getting to mile 24 in 30 minutes. If I don't make it, all this money, all this planning, all this lottery is just down the crapper. Who knows when I'll get into this race again? I have got to make it. I cannot stop. I got to keep going. Don't panic. Calm down. Just keep going. You can do it. I have never been relieved to get to mile 24 in my life. I mean, at that
Yeah.
point, victory was mine. I'm like, I can crawl it in. I
Right.
got an hour and 10 minutes to finish here, 2 miles. I can do it. And it was like, I just wanted to cry. I think I did have a tear or two. But I'm like, don't
Yeah.
cry. You're still running.
You love this. It's great.
And I'm like, this is great. I'm here. And at that point, you're at an out and back. So then I could look over to the other lane of traffic and see all the people running toward me. And the people in my lane at 24 started yelling at the other people, run, you're going to miss the cutoff. You
Yeah.
aren't going to make it. And there was
Mm.
1,000 people behind me. I'm like, oh, just so bad. So the key was having a plan. And I started preparing this little plan of my goal pace and comparing it with the cutoff times 2 weeks before I left. You know, I'd written out some test bracelets, wanted to make sure that they wouldn't move around. I wanted to have this memorized because, like I said, the whole trip is for a waste, and God knows when I'm going to get into this thing again. I
Yeah.
got into the lottery. I can't screw this up. Oh, I gotta keep going. So, and the other huge aspect of this was the bathroom situation.
Okay.
So I had heard with Tokyo that the bathrooms are far off course, like 6 blocks. You can't see them from the course, and people miss their cutoffs because they go to the bathroom.
Oh,
And so people told me that they run this race wearing Depends.
wow.
What? I know people with medical issues do this. I've personally not done it, but I went to Goodwill and got a couple of pairs.
Did you wear them or did you opt not to?
I brought them with me.
You brought them with
I
you.
stuffed them in my waistband and I ended up
Oh.
not using them because also at the start corral, they do have a lot of bathrooms, but it was taking people 30 minutes to get through the bathroom line. And I just didn't want to stand for 30 minutes and wait there. And I thought, oh, I can find a discreet place to do my thing and then throw it in the garbage can. No, there were too many people around. I mean, if I had waited till my corral was completely empty and started 30 minutes after the gun time, I could have done that. I'm like, no. And I wore a skirt too. I had
Oh,
my short and I had a skirt over it. So like in case I needed to pull it down,
yeah,
I could,
right.
put the little Depends on with no one seeing.
Yep.
Because I also, or somebody knows, they saw somebody who had made a mess of themselves
Yeah.
and they pulled them off and kicked them off the course.
No.
They got kicked out, yeah, for making a mess in their pants.
Wow.
Be
I
like,
didn't.
not only it's embarrassing, but
Then
then
you-
you don't finish.
Oh, that's awful. Actually,
So-
I didn't never heard of that happening.
I know. And my friend actually saw that happen. So this is like a secondhand account.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eyewitness.
Whoa.
So at the beginning of the race, I didn't drink that much in the start corral. I had like 8 ounces of water, 8 ounces of electrolyte. And I just told myself, I'm not going to the bathroom this whole time. I have done races where I've not gone to the bathroom. But in case I'm in duress, I've got one of these Depends in my pocket
So great. That's so
and
funny.
my skirt on.
Yep.
That I
Ready
can
to go.
use. I'm ready to go. I brought some extra Vaseline in case of chafing. And I was doing fine. I'm like, I don't got to go. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to run. I'm going to sweat it out. It's all good. And on the course, they had signs where their bathrooms were, but they were like around a building or somewhere and you couldn't see it and you didn't know how long the lines were. And eventually I connected with a friend and he said that he waited 11 minutes in the bathroom line. I'm like, that's too close. I only have a 20 to 30 minute margin.
Oh my
11 minutes.
gosh.
That's not good enough. But at mile 17, I turned a corner around a park and just happened to glance over and there was a building right there on the course and a guy was coming out of it messing with his pants. I'm like, That's a park bathroom. Can I go in there? Yes. No line. Just the hole in the
Wow.
ground with the Japanese. I can squatty potty. I know how to do that.
Yeah.
In and out in 3 minutes on my way. So great. And then I
Wow.
saw my husband and I gave him my skirt and my extra Depends. And I'm like, I'm good now. I could have made it to the end.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what's more
And
impressive, running 178 marathons or finding a bathroom with no lines in Tokyo. Sounds like, I don't know which one's crazier.
the park bathroom.
That's
It was
amazing.
great. Yeah. Yeah. And well, I always feel like I have to go to the bathroom like right at the start line. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing this. And then I'll often eat extra electrolytes the day before and in the morning and stuff. And I think that's what makes me go to the bathroom. So I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing that. I'll be fine. I'll just take the stuff while I'm running when I need it instead of extras in advance. So yeah,
How was the weather? Was it warm?
it was perfect.
Oh, good.
It was in the low 50s in the morning when we started. You know, you had to wait 2 hours in your corral before the start, and eventually it got sunny and maybe 61 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
But then there were icy cold breezes that came in. Fantastic. And you're running through the city. So, like New York, you're kind of in and out of the shadows of the buildings.
Hmm.
So, I was perfectly comfortable. I had just a baseball hat on. I had a little crown of the Statue of Liberty so my husband could find me.
That's good. Good idea.
Yeah, yeah. And so it was kind of funny listening to people in Japanese shout at me, "Statue of Liberty."
Oh, yeah. And they're,
Anything that remotely sounded like Bibberty, Liberty. I was like, ah,
yeah, that's me.
New York. Like,
And
well, it's
with Tokyo, there's a lot of out and back. So how many times did you get to
yes.
see your husband?
I saw him 3 times.
Wow.
And that was toward the end. One of them for sure was like mile 18. Mile 9 and mile 18 are right across from each other.
Yeah, that's so nice.
So it was easy for that. And I saw him one other time, and then I missed him at mile 25. He said he was right at the end, and I didn't see him because there was a corner, and I always cut the corners.
Yeah.
Call me lazy.
Yeah.
Cut
You're like,
the
no,
corners.
that's smart.
So yeah, he was out there, and normally he brings me a Coke, but he didn't because I'm not counting on him. You know, I'm like, I
Right.
can do this on my own. I can't count on seeing anyone else. And there are so many convenience stores everywhere in Japan. You know, they love their 7-Elevens that you could duck in and buy something if you wanted to, which I've done before. But
that's
again, I'm
funny.
like, cutoffs, time cutoffs, no
Yeah.
stopping.
No messing
No.
around.
I brought some 1,000 yen with me,
Okay.
which is like, what, $6 in case I wanted to buy something. But yeah, I really prepared. Like knowing those cutoffs gave me the confidence. I can make this. I can do this. And it's exactly my same pace and time. So it was an easy course, but stressful because there
Yeah.
really weren't any hills either. The other odd thing about it is that I've never touched so many people in a marathon before. Like it was so crowded that I was just politely, hey, I'm coming. Hey, I'm next to you. Just kind of constantly like brushing the shoulder of someone next to me.
Wow.
Even through like mile 15, it was still kind of shoulder to shoulder. And you had 2 lanes of the road to use, and then the other people had the other 2 lanes. So it was pretty wide in places, but it was still shoulder to shoulder.
Wow.
And then from 22 to 24, I was like, I got to get around these people. They are in my way. Just let me just get out of my way. I will go around you.
And you did, and you made it.
I
Ugh.
did, and I made it to 24, and then I just relaxed. But I kept going. I finished the last 2.5 in 30 minutes. I met all of my time goals 100%, and I finished
That's
in
awesome.
5:55. So I was really proud of myself. You know, I didn't completely slack off those last couple miles. I'm like, I still want to make my personal goal of 5:55, and I met all of them up till 24. Don't blow it on the last 2. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And did you collect all of the bath salts at the end? I saw videos of
did.
bath salts.
Yeah, kind of a weird giveaway at the end, you know,
Very.
because they're heavy. Yeah.
Because there wasn't just one bath salt. There were multiple, which I found just fascinating.
Yeah. They gave out bath salts at the end. And of course they're heavy. But they did something super awesome is they gave everybody a little plastic baggie to carry
Oh,
it.
yeah. That's key.
So you went through the line and you got these bath salts and you got shampoo and conditioner, you know, a little travel pack, and you got fabric softener and some random Japanese food. And I was like, oh, this is heavy, you know. And then I was at the end, my changing area, my meeting area was the light green area, which turns out is that it's a kilometer away from the finish line.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I'm
man.
walking, and they have people with signs directing you. And I'm like, Where is this place?" And you're snaking through the
Yeah.
downtown buildings and finally get to it, and this cute area, and they have the drop bags there. Well, and then people could go into the building and clean up. So I think that's why it ended up being far away, because they wanted all these different, I think they had 6 different areas where people could go, where they could actually go in and clean up. But I'm like, "Come on, dude. Give me my marathon as soon as I cross that line, because you had to keep walking to get your medal.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, that's
Then have
tough.
all the drop bags there. It's right across the street from Tokyo Station, so you could get
Mm.
your drop bag and go." Like, if
Yeah.
I had known it was that far away, I probably wouldn't have used it,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
just felt pointless, and then I had to walk back to Tokyo Station. I'm whining a little bit.
Well, it's so hard after a marathon. I just think of my personal
Mhm.
experience would be the New York City Marathon was like
Yeah,
you walk a million miles after. So,
that's
yeah.
exactly what it was like.
Yeah. It's
Um,
tough.
yeah. So, almost everything about the Tokyo Marathon was great because they have so much signs, and it was also the cleanest marathon I've ever been to. They had little volunteers out there with little baggies that you could just put your stuff in all the time, and they had them, they were holding them out. It was, like, so clean. I love Japan. I think every society should be like Japan.
Yeah.
I think any little hoodlums in the United States need to go to Japan to see how the good people live. Like,
Yeah.
they're so polite and clean, and there's no graffiti. And, the downside of that is that people might feel like they don't have as much personal freedom, but
Mm.
it's nice,
Yeah.
you
It
know?
sounds really nice. I've actually never been to Japan. So that's
Oh, yeah.
gotta go. Gotta go sometime.
You gotta go. Yeah, and when
Mm-hmm.
we were there the first time, we were skiing in the Hakuba Valley, which is west of Tokyo, so
Okay.
out in the country. So we got to see the countryside, and it turns out that Japan is actually kinda going through a little bit of an economic recession there. Instead of their economy growing, it's contracting a little bit because their population is down. And so all of the people who live in the rural areas, the farming communities, that younger generation wants to go to Tokyo, which is like 33 million people. So they have 600,000 abandoned farmhouses in rural Japan that are being decayed. And the older neighbors are now taking care of these farmhouses as well as the farms. And so they're starting a program where foreigners could come in and live in these houses for 6 months and take care of the properties. And so if you're doing remote work, you want to see life in Japan, go
Wow.
on a little adventure, you can go live in these houses and help take care of them. And it's nice. They're nice communities. They had one high school that they said at one point had 700 students, and now it's down to 70. I mean,
Whoa. That is,
really, yeah. And each of the regions is trying to promote their special thing, like $20 apples or fantastic almonds or these amazing oranges or honey. So they're trying to market themselves for a niche that they're known for, which is
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And these apples have something like when it freezes, the sugar inside them kind of solidifies. And then when it thaws again, you have these little swirls of sweet apple juice inside the apple. So you bite into them. Are fantastic. Like,
Sounds
wow.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now they're trying to do this thing, this Tokyo banana, which I think is like a Twinkie. They were giving those out too.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
yeah. So, and on this trip now, we stayed more in the cities, and we started with Hiroshima,
Mm.
which was amazing. We stayed at this place called the World Friendship Center. It's kind of like a youth hostel, but for all ages, adults, and they pair you up with survivors of the A bombing. So there are 90,000 people still alive who have survived this bombing. And one of them came in and he told us his story. And these people are called the Hibashka, this whole community of people. They said after the war, they were actually discriminated against because other people knew they had been exposed to the radiation. They said 2 weeks after the A bomb, the area was still radiation. And anybody who was in that area in 2 weeks after the bombing is considered a survivor, a hibashka. And, they have all these health problems, of course. Not to get too far into that weeds. I mean, that's a pretty amazing story. Seeing it firsthand just always
Yeah.
makes it real. And these people are on a mission that all nuclear weapons should be banned. They just say, what happened to us was so inhumane. It's a crime against humanity. That mass destruction of their entire community and how much the people suffered is just beyond unacceptable. No one should ever go through that again. So that's their mission,
Wow.
and it's really, bittersweet to see that.
Yeah. How
So of
far is
course
that from Tokyo? Is that like a driving distance or is that a plane ride?
well, both. It was 4 hours on the bullet train.
Okay.
And we could have flown there in an hour and a half, but it would have made our travel schedule harder.
Yeah.
So then after that, we went to Kyoto and Osaka and back to Tokyo. So we saw more of the
Wow.
city things.
Yeah.
So I feel like we got a pretty good feel for Japan, and everywhere we went is just beautiful. The people are amazing. Recommend it.
Yeah. I gotta go.
There goes tourism
Yeah.
Japan. There's
Yeah.
my public
Yeah.
service
There's my
announcement for
spiel.
that.
Well, I think you gave me an opening for a good segue into
Mm.
kind of more of your story. And
Yeah.
that is not that you are necessarily discriminated against or have been, but you had a tough upbringing in your with your health, like
Yeah.
and going through what you did. So would you be open to talking about that now?
Yeah, yeah. So that was tough. I had a tough childhood simply because I was sick as a kid, and I had this weird birth defect that was really bad. I'll avoid the gory details because then people are like, "Oh, well, then it becomes all about the
That.
the problem, the disease,
Yes.
rather than more kind of about the emotional after effects." And I think a lot of sick kids can relate to what I went through. At the time, I thought there was only 23 people in the world that had my problem. Somehow along the way, that's what the doctors had told me. Turns out that's not really true. But I grew up feeling like this complete medical freak. And my parents told everybody, and every time I went somewhere, that's all people wanted to know about. That's all they wanted to talk about.
Mm.
That's all they asked me about. And so I felt like this freak, and that was my medical identity. And I hated that. I was like, I just want to get away from this as fast as I can. So with this medical problem I had, they said that I would be lucky to make it to age 15. I got 3 years to live. This really sucks. And when I was 13, they did this treatment. And they said, "Well, we kind of sewed everything together. We didn't have to put any artificial parts in there. You still got your own equipment, original equipment. But, this might only last another 20 years. And if not, we'll put you on the transplant list." I was like, fuck that. This really sucks. I mean, because this was from age 5 to age 15 of in and out of all these appointments, and they were awful, and my parents weren't mean, but they just weren't really sensitive or helpful. I never felt like anybody cared, and I'm like, "I am never, ever coming back to this hospital. I'm gonna walk out of this hospital. I'm gonna get through school as fast as I can. I'm gonna get a job and make some money. I'm gonna travel the world and meet friends from all over, and I'm never getting married and having kids because I don't want any kid to have the same problem that I do. And no one will ever love me anyway because I'm this freak, totally unworthy of anything. And I'm going to be rich someday." That seems highly unlikely and totally unimportant. I created these goals. I just saw this in an instant. It flashed through my mind. Like, I'm in the hospital. I'm looking in the mirror because this is the first time I can get out of bed and be in the bathroom by myself. Otherwise, you always have these people around you all the time, and you're still connected to all these tubes and wires. And I'm just standing in the bathroom going, "I got to get the fuck out of here. What the fuck just happened to me?" You know, I'm like, "Yeah, this treatment's kind of worse than the disease," which it wasn't, considering I didn't die.
Yeah. Oh my
So
gosh.
so I made it out. I started college at 16. And when I went to college, I realized nobody knows me here. Like, I walked through those college doors, went to the classroom, somebody said hi to me, and I was like, "This person doesn't know anything about me. I can be anything I want to this person. Wow, I can start over. I don't have to be this sick freak that everybody knows about." Wow, amazing. It was like this breakthrough. I was like, "Wow." So then it kind of started this. I felt like I had a split personality a little bit. Like, well, I can pretend to be a normal girl. I can pretend to be like everybody else. But I have this little secret inside that I keep private. And that was really part of protecting myself from everything that had really been so traumatic. And I also just want to go out and have a good time. Like, I'm gonna party, I'm gonna meet people, I'm gonna date, I'm gonna have all this fun and live it up. And I did. It was great. I'm gonna do all these risky things and reckless behavior because I only have 20 years to live. It doesn't matter. I don't care. It's awesome. So I also wanted to kind of give back and see if I could make things better for the other kids. But I never wanted to be a doctor. I hate hospitals. I don't want to work there. I don't want to be an MD. I don't want to be a nurse. I'm like, I just can't do that to other kids. And now today, they're much better about it, and the kids have counselors and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
hopefully people won't be as shamed as I was about the problem. Whatever problems they're having, I think there's a lot more support system for kids these days. And I graduated from college. I got a BS in genetics and cell biology and
Nice.
worked. Yeah, awesome. And I worked for this one company and met a couple guys who had started their own company on the side. And it was a service company in the laboratory where we were developing tests for other people, like an AIDS test, a home pregnancy test, a COVID test. And they asked me if I wanted to join them as a lab assistant. And their offer was, well, come work for us in a bad neighborhood with no pay, quit your cushy job, but kind of work for yourself, work for us, have this free schedule. And I said, if you pay my health insurance and give me 30% of the company, I'll do it.
There we go.
And they did. I was like, this is great. So I had kind of a free schedule and quickly realized that they weren't doing enough marketing. And everybody in my family on both sides, my mom's side and my dad's side, everybody has a small business. So it's plastics manufacturing, it's metal welding shops, it's computer sales. At that time, computer sales was a
Right.
big deal. My cousins make bicycle wheels, the head disc wheels. That's my cousins.
And by the way, where is your family from? Minnesota or somewhere else?
Yeah, we're in Minnesota.
Okay.
I'm currently in Afton, Minnesota, which is just east of the MSP airport.
Okay.
Central Minnesota is where I grew up. The core thing was we all wanted to make an independent living as a scientist, and we were having a good time doing it. We'd go out for lunch every day, screw around, joke. It was super fun. And but we weren't really making enough money to pay all the bills. So we all borrowed money. Every single one of us. My business partners put their houses up. They got second mortgages, and we were doing all this great stuff. And for me, I got to the point where I was $100,000 in debt, and I'm like 32 years old, and I'm like, I can't. I have
gosh.
nothing. I have spent it all, and this is crazy. And in the meantime, I'm feeling kind of tired. I'm, going up and down the stairs, panting like a dog. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's time for that transplant. It's been a couple years. I should probably go back to the doctor and see how things are going. Like, I hate this. Okay, so I go back to the doctor and she says, we can't tell there's anything wrong with you. You're doing great. Everything seems to be working just fine. We think you're out of shape.
Oh,
What? Maybe you should try exercising. Are you kidding me? Physical therapy? Exercise? Nobody ever said anything about that.
wow.
Well, and I was never a couch potato. So I always played tennis and I rode my bike and I always walked really fast. So I would always walk around the lakes. I could run for 5 minutes, but it's not like I was out there sprinting or anything. And she's like, yeah, and if you ever wanted to have a baby someday, that's like spending 9 months on the treadmill. So think of that. I'm like, well, it's probably not going to happen. I don't feel like that's in the cards for me. So I started taking weightlifting for women through Bloomington, Minnesota Community Ed. And the instructor there, Kathy, she made us run on the treadmill for 5 minutes to warm up. I was like, I can't, I can do 5 minutes, and then I kept going. And then I would go early to class and I'd run around the block. And meanwhile, the weightlifting was great. Turns out it's the gym where the Bloomington Volunteer Fire Department works out.
That's motivating.
I know, right? And I was one of the younger ones in the class. So, me and the 80-year-old ladies and the firemen, oh, it was great. The ladies would tell me how they had their new boyfriends in the old folks' home. It was really cute.
That's
Yeah,
so
and
fun.
this lady said, no matter how old you are, you still want this love in your life. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, no one's ever gonna love me, but okay.
Uh,
And she's like, oh, that'll happen. I'm like, no, I'm never getting married.
famous last words.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I did get married when I was 47. So I'm taking this class and I'm feeling better. And I'm running around the lakes in Minneapolis. They're 3 miles each, and you can easily go 10, 20 miles running around all these lakes. It's great. And I got lost. And when I got home, I realized I had run 17 miles and I
Wow.
felt good.
What?
It's like,
Did you run
yeah.
any sort of race before that, like a half marathon, or you literally just got lost and ran 17
I
miles?
ran a 5K when I was 18 years old and came in last place. The Montgomery, Minnesota Kalachki Days Fun Run. That was my 5K. Oh, I was panting like a dog for that one. I still have a t-shirt.
That's funny.
Yeah. And I'd run the 17 miles. And in the meantime, my best friend was training for a marathon. She also was a regular girl, not super athletic, not a couch potato, but she had some guys from her work that were running the marathons who had done it many times. And so she started training with them. And it was her goal from New Year's Eve. And I knew she was going to do it. I knew she was going to finish it. So I helped her and I watched her a little bit. And once she finished that Twin Cities marathon and I had run that 17 miles, I was like, I think I can do this. I think I can give it a try. And so I spent another year training. I signed up through the
Wow.
running room, Jeff Galloway's program. He just passed
Oh,
away.
yes. Oh, such a
Yeah,
loss.
I know. And so I ran with them and finished my first one in 5:19. I can believe it. My dad came out and took pictures. It was amazing. I finished it. I never thought I would do that.
And that was Twin Cities was your
That was Twin
first?
Cities
Okay.
Marathon. And you're running the course, and part of the course is mile 19, where you go over the Mississippi River. It's Franklin Avenue Bridge. It's a long bridge, like 2 or 3 blocks. But when you're going over the bridge and you look left, there's University of Minnesota hospitals and clinics, and I can see the rooms where I was a patient, where I'd received all this treatment. And here I am running past, and I realized, that very first Twin Cities Marathon in 1982 was just a week before I'd had this miracle cure. And I was like, you know what? I never would have considered that I would be out here doing this. It was never something I thought about, something that, other people did. But, of course it goes in one ear and out the other, and you don't think about it again. And there I was, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And then I signed up for grandma's 6
Like
months
right away?
later.
Okay. Yeah. 6 months later. What year was this, your first marathon, Sally?
2004. So did
Okay.
Twin Cities 2004. Grandma's 2005 was the following June. So October to June. And then did 1 a year, 2 a year for a while. And I was like, I feel pretty good. This is a pretty good part of my training. I'm not super fast. I should do a few more. So I think the first 6 years I'd done 8. And now it feels like such a waste of time. I'm like, I could have gotten so many more in if I had
Could have been at
just
300.
I know, I could have been at 300. Yeah, so that's what got me into it. And
Jeez.
when I was doing it, what keeps me doing it is because it makes me feel healthy. That it makes me feel like, yeah, my problem really is solved. Because sometimes I still feel tired, still get those same feelings that make me feel sick. When I get those feelings, I kind of have a little bit of a panic attack and got to go, I'm fine. It's okay. It's been a long time. If it was going to come back, it probably would have come back by now. People will, when cancer patients will get the kind of the 5-year all clear,
Right.
but it never really goes away. It's always in the back of your mind. You always worry about it. You just have to learn how to cope with some of these problems that might be coming back. I'm like, okay, so running the marathons and staying that active makes me feel like I kind of conquered this beast, that I'm still healthy and I can maintain, and I'm good. I'm good. Like, how much validation do I need?
I'm like thinking, I'm just
Apparently
thinking.
200.
Yeah.
So whether you think that's a dysfunctional reason, a little screwed up, it's helpful to me. It makes
Yeah.
me feel good.
Well, gosh, you're in
So
good company, man.
it's such a personal reason for me to run these races. And when I think about the charity causes and people run for that, I'm like, I don't know if I want to let people down. Definitely have to do it in a way where if I didn't finish, it's still okay. People would still give me the money, because I'm trying to raise $1 million for medical research myself.
Which is outstanding.
Yeah. So, I always feel like there's always more I can do,
Mhm.
with my, we could go back to the business if you want.
Right. Well, yeah, because then did that business end up going away? Did you end up owning that or building your own? Yeah. What happened with the business?
Yeah. So back to work, I had taken these huge risks. And so I joined these guys in 96, and had ramped up and we're doing pretty well. But, 9 years later, I'm deep in debt, $100,000 in debt. I owe $40,000 in taxes. That's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Taxman. I am terrified of the tax man. And when you owe taxes, you can only be on the payment plan for 1 year at a time.
Wow. Yeah.
And so we were always juggling this, and technically we never went bankrupt. We didn't. Because if I had gone bankrupt, we'd had to sell the whole thing and that would have been a done deal. And the projects we were working on were just too good. So it's 9 years later. I'm in debt. I get this news that I'm going to live. Should exercise more. I'm like, well, fuck. Now I got to pay back this debt.
Yeah. I'm not going to die with this debt anymore. Damn it. Can't do that.
I thought my bankrupt estate it would all just go away.
Yeah. Interesting. Right. I mean,
Yeah. Some people have a midlife crisis and they go spend all the money. Well, I kind of had like an early crisis.
yeah. Wow.
And that was when I was starting to run more. And so running was moving meditation for me.
Mm.
And it would help me work on some of these business problems that we were having. And, we were bringing in enough money to kind of keep the lights on. And we were always reinvesting in the products that we were developing. And Everything looked great. Our products were working really, really well. We had a lot of them. One application is cancer research. A doctor would take a biopsy of a tumor, they'd grow it in a couple of petri dishes, and then they'd try different chemotherapy. And then they would come on with my products, my color molecules, to see if those tumor cells were dying. So using these molecules, we could determine the effectiveness of chemotherapy by whether or not they were killing the tumor cells. And it was great. And I'm like, God, I got to figure this out. I am so far in debt. I cannot quit. The data we have is just too good. So what do you do? What do you do when you're in debt? Well, I remembered my boyfriend at college had gotten into debt, and his mom sent him to a consumer counseling service. And so that's what I did. I found a nonprofit place that helps people fix their finances and get back on your feet again. So the place I found is called Family Means. They're based in Stillwater, Minnesota. They're a nonprofit consumer credit counseling service. So just Google that if you need this. Don't go with one that's a for-profit. Don't go one that consolidates your debt. Don't go with one that loans you more money. Those are all predators.
Ooh, yeah.
So unless you're living in a bad neighborhood in squalor, you can't get away from this debt. Bankruptcy doesn't solve all your debt problems. You still have to come up with a plan for repaying it. And with the nonprofit consumer credit counseling service, you have 5 years to pay off your debt. You come up with a plan. You live within your means, and you make your payments to them. They're just managing the debt and your creditors on your behalf. So I had $50,000 of credit card debt, and we came up with a plan. It would take me 5 years to pay it off, and then it would take me another 5 years to pay off my student loans. And then during that time, I would figure out working with my business partners to pay the taxes. And I was like, God, this is going to take me forever. I'm never going to be out of debt. But this is a light at the end of the tunnel. This is something I can do this. So instead of paying $1,200 a month to my creditors directly and only making $300 of progress, I paid $800 to the counseling service and made $600 worth of progress. So I was actually paying less money each month and paying down the debt twice as fast.
Wow.
And, but that was another thing I was always kind of hiding from people and, kind of pretending everything's okay. And I had this great boyfriend and I hid it from him, and, he knew things were wrong, but didn't quite know why. And it wasn't good, So my boyfriend left me. I lost my car. I lost my apartment. I had to put my cat to sleep. Yeah. Kind of the lowest of the low of my life. I'm like, this just really sucks. And that was the same month that I started on this program. And within 2 months, I could really see a difference. I'm like, this is working. I'm still living within my means. I'm not acquiring any debt. It's working. And it really motivated me to keep doing more about it. And I took all these weird, odd jobs. Like I started organizing a lot of the club trips. So I could go skiing in Squaw Valley for a week for $400 because then I was the trip chair and planned everything. Organizer gets a free hotel and a free plane ticket.
There you go.
I can do this. This is how I control. So this is a great hack that people don't realize. When you join a club and you start organizing things, you get a 4- and 5-star trip at a 3-star price. And if you're the organizer, it's almost free. So I'm like, I can't pass this up. This is a fun thing for me to do on the side. It makes me feel good. And I don't have anything on my own that I can really give to people, but I can help with my time. So I was doing that, and I came clean to my family. I said, 10 years, nobody's getting any presents. I'm not buying anybody Christmas presents. I got to focus on this debt. And my mom said, that's okay. I don't want to buy presents for you people.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's fine. Let's just play games. That's awesome.
That is great.
And our family has continued this tradition, which, you just play this dice game. You roll the dice, you get triples, you grab a present. Typical gifts might be alcohol or a funny t-shirt. It's just all in good fun. We have fun with it. And I didn't realize how much stress that took off my life. So starting in October, when they have all these ads about buy this gift, buy that gift, all those ads are about stress. You're running around, you're stressful. Buy all your gifts at Walmart or go to Kohl's and buy somebody a sweater. Just ignore all of that. None of it matters. Just don't participate in it. And all of a sudden, my life's a lot easier. We're like, just show up. If you decorate, great. Bring some food, great. Nothing has to be perfect. All that matter is that you get your butt over here for dinner and a game. That's it. Low expectations. It's so fun. So I changed, with this debt, with the business. I changed.
quick break in the show to tell you about another sponsor, Relay Active. Relay Active is a women's activewear brand, sorry guys, created for running. It is a small woman-owned business. 1% of all orders go to animal rescue, so it's a great brand to support. I love this brand. I've been buying from them for years, actually before I got the chance to partner with them. The fabric that she uses is so soft and high quality. My favorite products are the Kella Pocket Crop Top and the Rachel Pocket Shorts. The Pocket Crop Top has a pocket for your phone, and you also must know that there are 2 new colorways that just dropped for the spring, which I just placed an order, and the next day got an announcement of the new colors. So now I'm probably going to place another order because you cannot have enough. And the new colors are amethyst, this beautiful pastel purple, and spearmint, which is a lighter teal, both perfect for spring and spring training, which a lot of us are in. So if you want to shop Relay Active, you can go to relayactive.com. You can use code MILESTONES for 15% off of your order. Again, that's relayactive.com. Thank you, Relay Active, for supporting this podcast.
So I changed, with this debt, with the business, I changed. I had to fix this problem, and we became a lot more focused at work, and we had all these great products, and we just needed to increase sales, just like any other business problem that you have. In the meantime, my business partners wanted to retire, and I was still working on that debt. I was focused on paying it off. So instead of taking me 5 years to pay off my credit cards, it took me 23 months to pay off $50,000 in debt. And I did that because I moved in with my friends and was paying $200 a month in rent. I sold my car, drove a shitty car. I took odd jobs. I sold all my stuff. I wasn't spending money on trips. I wasn't buying gifts. I wasn't doing anything extravagant. And I focused, and living with my friends for that 23 months was worth $60,000. That's how much I paid off because in addition to paying that $50,000, I saved $10,000 during that time. I'm like, I got to do something here. I have to change. I'm going to live. I got to start saving money. Maybe I'd retire someday. I don't know. That was a concept. We started a 401k. Who knew? So another little tip also, if you start your own small business, start a 401k immediately, because that money is protected from bankruptcy.
Yeah. And the timeline here compared to when you paid off the credit card debts, what year is this, alongside your running journey?
So my first marathon was 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started with the Consumer Credit Counseling Service in 2007. And I had all my credit cards, student loans, and my tax problem solved in 2011. Oh. So essentially 4.5 years of hitting it hard. I'm running a lot. I'm doing good. I'm doing these fun things on the side, taking odd jobs, selling all the stuff. The business is taking off. It's doing great. I'm living with my friends. They're super fun in Uptown. Uptown is this fun, trendy neighborhood in Minneapolis, and it's where all the lakes are. So I can just walk to the lakes and go rollerblading or biking or running. Life is good. And I've been saving money. And all of a sudden, interest rates dropped to 3%. I was like, my God, I could buy a house. During this time, I have managed to save $80,000.
Yeah.
I could buy a house. I never thought I'd be able to buy a house. So I bought my own house in 2012. And then started buying out my business partners in 2013 was the first one. And so in 2016, I was at 20 years of working. I was finally the sole owner of the company, woman-owned biotechnology company. And we were doing really good. And we had these great color molecules for the cancer research. And we had all these other products you needed for a diagnostic test, just like the blue line on the COVID test, right? And during this time when my last business partner was retiring, a lot of people, and we had approached a lot of financial people about having an outside company buy us. Are you interested in the company? Here's the fit. Here's the financial people. We got a lot of really bad offers. I've gotten a lot of really, really bad offers over the years to buy my company. After all this work, I'm not doing that. So finally, I started telling them, hey, you may not think my company's worth anything, or you don't want me to think it's worth anything, but I think it's worth X dollars, and I'm not going to sell it for any less than that. So when you think my company is worth X amount of dollars, you call me.
Yeah.
And in 2020, they all called. And by this time, I had gotten married in 2017. My husband has a pension, which includes health insurance for his wife. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm feeling super secure.
How'd you meet your husband?
On a ski trip. I was a
Oh,
trip organizer, and we were taking a bus up to Michigan, the UP, and I sat next to him on the bus.
oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah, and I asked him, he's the new guy on the trip. There's an empty seat next to him. I'm like, "Hey, can I sit next to you?" And he said yes. So he has sole responsibility for this.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I had gone through some counseling. When I was 25, I went to a counselor to help with my emotional issues for
Right.
dealing with
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
childhood. And that was a breakthrough. And they had said, your symptoms are PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, all the way. All these things that you're doing, all these coping skills, everything that you've done is related to post traumatic stress disorder. And now they call it medical trauma. There's a term. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And so just getting that clarification and diagnosis really helped me a lot. And by the time I met him, it was right when I bought my own house. And so I was feeling pretty good about myself,
Yeah.
and running these marathons. And so we got married, and that also changed me. Like, I didn't realize how much security I needed. Like, I'm independent. I can do it all. I can do it all myself. I don't need any help. I'm a strong, independent woman, whatever. And I meet this guy, and I'm like, he's the one. Because it turns out that frequently happens with women who are sick is that I don't need a man who's a rock. I need a mountain. I need a guy I can really count on because I know something could very easily go wrong with me. And who's going to take care of me? And that's a big ask. And up to this point, I'd kind of been dating all the wrong guys, the fun guys, the party guys, all this stuff. And some of them were really great. And I completely screwed up those relationships. Oh, I'm the nutty girlfriend. And I met my husband, Mike. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna screw this one up. He's just too good, and he's fresh off a divorce, feeling kind of bad about himself, living with his mom in his mom's basement.
Oh.
Oh, I can't scare this one away. And I know what it's like to live in your friend's basement.
Yeah.
You got to rebuild your life.
Mhm.
And a lot of people in his position, kind of restarting their life, looking out for new friends, tend to join a club. They want,
Yeah.
like, all their kids are grown. Maybe their spouse
Mhm.
doesn't ski. They want to get out more. So I met him when he was actually open to meeting new people. And so I just played it real cool. I didn't do all the crazy stuff that Cosmo tells you to do. I followed the old fashioned rules. I waited for him to call me, waited for him to kiss me. Yeah, old fashioned rules. It worked. And so once he and I had gotten married, I just had this profound sense of security that I'd never had before.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Wow, this is nice." I didn't realize how much I was missing this until I got it. I was like, "Wow, this is great. This is really good." And so he's working. He's an engineer for the Army Corps of Engineers. They work on dams and flood protection. And Hurricane Katrina was one of their projects for the St. Paul office. They work on the Mississippi River. Very secure job. Turns out I need
Yeah.
that because I'm highly risky, but maybe not so much anymore. I sold the company in December 2020, worked really hard the next year with the transition and packed everything up, and we moved the company to California. And meanwhile, concurrently, my dad was dying. He got Alzheimer's really bad. Like, he had a breakdown. He was going down this road, but then it was a crisis moment. He tried to kill my mom and
Jeez.
delusional.
Gosh.
And
Alzheimer's is, I think, the worst.
yeah, and we didn't realize how bad it was for my mom until that happened, and we're like, "Oh my god. Oh my god." And then she doesn't wanna call the police because she doesn't want him to get arrested.
Right. Well,
I'm
yeah.
like
That's
I'm like,
crazy too. Yeah.
"Call the police, you call the ambulance, and they're not gonna arrest him. They know he's an old man with Alzheimer's."
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But it just really scared her and all of us, and anyway, so he ended up in memory care in the VA, and then I have another person close to me who has cancer, and so I am working during the day, wrapping things up, manufacturing stuff. Some of my team by now has found other jobs and moved on, and then at night I'm going to see my dad, and then on other days I'm going to help this other person with their cancer journey, and I've never worked that hard in like the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, I worked 20 days in a row, including Thanksgiving and also seeing my dad because fortunately, geographically, everything was pretty close together.
Yeah.
My work and my dad were 45 minutes away from my house and they were only 10 minutes apart. So I could do that.
And when would you run? Because I mean, you're still doing
Oh my
one or
God, all
two
the time.
marathons at least a year. So like, were you
Yeah.
a morning runner during that season of your life?
Yes. Yeah. So I need to get up and go for the run first thing. So I just run on the weekends and then throw in an occasional marathon.
Right.
Yeah. So I ran Hawaii. This is great. Yeah. and run during the summer. And because I own my own business, it's pretty flexible. I could take my
Mm.
time off. I took about 6 weeks off a year, 6 to 8 weeks off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really the best thing is that I wanted my own schedule and the freedom to travel, freedom to meet all these people all over the
Mhm.
world, which is
Mhm.
great, you know, and then I was meeting all these scientific people because we would go to scientific conferences,
Right.
and I'd go to a conference and I'd run the Atlanta Marathon at the same time, or I'd go to
Yeah.
Birmingham, and I
Yeah.
ran Richmond, Virginia when we were in Washington, D.C. for a trade show. So, yeah, so I'd like Christine, working a trade show and then
Yeah.
going to run a marathon. Yeah, been
Yep.
there, done that. The key is to make sure on your trade show booth that you have really
Sit down.
plush
Oh, yeah,
carpeting.
that or that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the safety mats, the cushy mats.
Yeah. When did you run your first international race?
Paris, 2011.
Wow. 2020, you sold the company. 2011, you paid off your debt. You were done.
2011, I paid off my debt. So in Christmas of 2010, my parents gave each of us $1,000. And I said, I'm going to
Wow.
Paris with this money. Like immediately. I don't know why. That's just what I said. And the Paris Marathon was in April of 2011. And I got in through some tour company out of Florida. And my best friend came over, Nancy, two best friends. And she came over to meet me and she met me. She ran in the finish line with her and they gave her a medal too.
Oh.
And she's like, man, I just ran a mile. I'm exhausted. I'm like, Nancy. So she still has, she tried to give it back.
Oh, that's funny.
She's,
Yeah.
she's got her honorary medal. Yeah. So 2011, I did Paris and then.
We'll pause really quick because of LA.
Mhm.
Just pausing because people were up in arms about the 18-mile medal situation, which.
I didn't hear this.
Oh, you did not? Okay. So it was
What
like
happened?
80 to 90 degrees. The weather was awful. It was yesterday, the marathon.
Oh,
As we record this, how hot it was going to be. The race organizers were like, okay, instead of canceling the race, we're going to give people an out. If you get to mile 18, you can take a medal and you can be done. And because it was such bad weather. And so for me personally, I wouldn't take the medal unless I ran the 26.2. But I don't give a shit what other people want to do. If that's what they want to do, that's fine, whatever. But it's divided the internet, if you will, because people are like, no, absolutely not. A marathon's a marathon. You should not give them a medal. I just think I don't care if people want the medal, maybe for motivation or maybe because they spent thousands of dollars and months and months of training, and they just want to have that as a memory. It's not like they're going around saying that they are a marathoner and ran the full race. People care too much about what other people do sometimes. So anyway.
Yeah. Depending on how I felt that day and what the heat would have been like, I would have run that 18 miles and I would have taken the medal, but it would not have gone on my rack. It would go on my other rack, my bag of marathons that I didn't finish or were canceled. Like Minneapolis Marathon, they had to cancel it at the beginning for lightning and they gave everybody the medals. Twin Cities was canceled because of the heat a couple years ago and you could go pick up your medal. My husband went and picked up the medal. So on my spreadsheet, it's a DNF. DNS, did not finish, did not start.
Yeah.
And I put a little sticker on the back of it with my time and it doesn't count, but I still have the medal. And so those are the medals that I'll bring with me somewhere if I need to give a talk or something. Because if I lose it, I don't care.
Yeah. But exactly.
Like demo medals.
Yeah.
And then I've seen that too, where they've canceled races and then people go out and run anyway.
Yeah.
Like even for Twin Cities when they canceled it and that Minneapolis one, people come to town, they're ready, they're prepared. I mean, I even ran 12 miles on the day the Minneapolis one was canceled because I'm like, I ate all these electrolytes. I used the bathroom already. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I'll just go these extra 10.
Yeah. The Carmel Marathon was canceled last year, which is where I live, for storms that came through, just freak kind of thing, bad timing. Yeah. And then even this weekend, we were supposed to have a 6-miler for the Indy Mini training series, and they canceled that because of weather. So I don't know. I just don't. Carmel, like the race director went around, and anybody local, he like literally hand delivered medals to people, which was like so sweet. But I don't know why people care so much. But it was a very big debate.
They're probably concerned more about that you take credit for it. Stolen valor is what they call it in the military.
Stolen valor. Okay. And which I appreciate. If somebody takes the medal, they didn't run it, and they lie and say they did, like, don't do that.
I know.
Stolen valor. That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I have 4 medals that I count as marathons, even though for some random reason they technically don't count as a marathon. I can't use them for my 50 stays. I can't use them for my 100 club. But, I completed the race. The one that's most frustrating is the Garmin Marathon in Olathe, Kansas from a couple years ago, where they mismeasured the course, sponsored by Garmin, by
the front door.
0.1 miles. 6,000 people got a DNF. I'm like, just go into the bathroom before the minutes after the race, during the race, I made that 0.1 miles. So somebody had put the
Wow.
cone in the wrong spot where a turnaround was. Apparently they used last year's spot instead of this year's spot. And we all noticed it right away on our watches. Like, wow, that was a fast mile, something. And I'm like, just shut up. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
Of course,
Oh,
people were asking. Ah. And then Garmin sends out a letter afterwards throwing the city under the bus. Like,
yeah.
we weren't responsible for measuring the course. It was the city manager person who was supposed
Yeah.
to do that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but your name is all over this course. The irony, the
Yeah.
irony. What,
That,
they know, they
yeah.
know.
That's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I got the medal, I got the pictures. I still count it, but it's not official.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that situation.
so then I
Yeah.
had to go back to Kansas and ran what was it called? One of them was like the Kansas Extravaganza Rail Trail race at the end of October. So I could get my 50 states, which I
Right.
just finished. And with Christine Anderson, she came with me. She was so sweet to
Oh,
finish West Virginia. And she
oh,
brought balloons that said 50. And she had
oh,
special little candles with 50. It was so fun.
that's so perfect. Okay. And so it just happened to be West Virginia for you, just as kind of how everything shook out.
Yep. Yeah, I'd been trying to get in all my states. I ran something like 10 marathons pretty quickly last year in 2026. Like I had to do all of New England, Maine, Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and then West Virginia. Oh, and Colorado, which I did, Aspen Valley. So, I had my sights on those 50 states. I'm like, I should be able to do this. Got time. Yeah. And West Virginia, just with the schedule, ended up being the last one. And then I had my backup West Virginia in Marshall. So I did finish my 50 states in August and then had my backup race in November, just in case I didn't
Great.
make it. Because, sometimes there's lightning.
Yeah.
Sometimes they cancel it. Sometimes you don't finish. You might get sick.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Gosh. And after the number of races that you've done, Sally, of course, odds are that something can happen across that whole amount of time for sure.
Yes.
So is the 100
Yes.
Club, the 100 marathons that you've done?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
50 is the 50 states. And
Yep.
I guess if you just finished 50 states, do you think you'll end up doing that again just as a byproduct of continuing to race a lot? Or now you focus more on international stuff? Or how do you plan what you're going to do?
Yeah, a lot of people are on round 2 or round 3
Yeah.
of the 50 states. I could see myself
is-
doing that eventually. But now I think I should do Canada, a little
Yeah.
more interesting, and there's a lot of races within an easy drive of me. I'm in
Good point.
Minnesota, Twin Cities
Mhm.
area. Wisconsin has a lot of races. I've repeated a lot of races. I have one friend who's never repeated a race and he's run 200. I'm like,
Geez.
that takes a lot of effort. So I think doing doing ones I haven't done before that I've always found interesting, like
Mhm.
the Tunnel Light Marathon near Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, I just
You
had a
go through all
guest
these
on
tunnels.
2 or 3 weeks ago. Carly did the
Okay.
tunnel marathon, and she's doing it again this year, actually. So yeah.
Yeah, and then I've done 2 overnight ones.
Oh yeah.
One is that Moonlight on the Falls, the West Virginia one with Christine, where it started
Cool.
at midnight. It was pouring rain, and you run
Whoa.
overnight. Ended
Okay.
up being super fun. And then I did the ET Midnight Marathon in Nevada, which was overnight and in the desert. So it was like 70 degrees. You can imagine
Yeah.
it was 100 degrees in Vegas during the day.
Yeah.
So more interesting ones like that. There's one in Colorado, in Denver, that goes around this lake, and it starts on the hour. So you have an hour to go 3 miles or so, and everybody starts on the hour.
Mhm.
And there's one like that also in West Virginia. I think that's more interesing.
Yeah, like a backyard ultra format. Is it like the 4.167 miles? Because typically,
It's Sloan Lake,
Okay.
Sloane, Sloan Lake, and no, it's closer to 3 miles.
okay,
Okay.
interesting.
And apparently there's a rumor that there's some kind of monster in Sloan Lake. So it's a hunt. You're trying to find the monster.
There
So
you
you
go.
run around the lake, and then everybody waits at the end of the hour to see what kind of evidence you have. And then you run around again. And you do that till you finish
Yeah.
the marathon distance.
Yeah.
And I always love
Interesting.
trail runs.
Mm.
And I could see myself doing another 50K. I've only done one 50K.
Okay.
And so maybe more.
Only. It's just
Oh,
funny.
more.
I've never done one. It's, it's all relative, but you're like, yeah, just one.
Yeah. Yeah, so you do a lot of halves. You've done
I like the half
tons of
marathon
halves
a
before.
lot. Yeah.
What are you at for halves now?
I think I'm going to do one this weekend too, and it'll be 68.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how many marathons?
9.
9.
Yeah.
That's great. So
It's funny. It feels small compared like when I'm like looking at your journey, but at the same time,
I know.
like most people don't run marathons at all. So
I know. I
it's
know.
wild.
I
This
know.
world that we're in is crazy.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. I catch myself saying to my friend Tom, "Oh, you've only run 25 marathons. That's great." It's like I really try not to do that because
Measly number of
it
marathons.
is a huge accomplishment. I mean, I remember when 3 miles was hard. A 5K was hard. I remember running those 5 minutes, being on the treadmill, sweating my sprinting through the airport, exhausted. Those kind of things. It takes a long time sometimes to build up your fitness and
Yeah.
it takes a lot of effort to it. And a lot of people hate it because they never get past the point where they're suffering. You sprint a mile here and then maybe a month later you do it again and it's still hard because you don't have that
Hmm.
base. You have to, if you're sprinting a mile, you got to sprint 2 miles in order for 1 mile to feel easy. So you
Yeah.
always have to push yourself. So yeah, so I do a lot of cross training. I like to do different things. So I ride my bike, I go rollerblading, I go to swim class. I try to go at least once a week. And, weightlifting's good. I don't do it as much as I used to. And same with yoga. I love yoga, but I know you're having trouble stretching.
Oh, yeah. Always.
Yep, yep. So my goal has always been able to put my hand flat on the floor, to do a
God.
bend
Yeah.
over.
Mm.
When I brush my teeth every night, I put my foot on the counter to stretch my legs.
That's smart. Yeah. Like, see, that's what I
brush my
should do is like work it into things I'm already doing. Just do it a little
Uh-huh.
differently. I'm just such a bad
Yeah.
stretcher.
Yeah. So I kind of fidget around sometimes and my husband's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm stretching my inner thighs."
Duh.
Yeah, I know, can't you tell?
So has Mike ever done any races or any running in his life?
No, he hates running. He won't run if there's a fire. He hates running. But he
That's
loves
fair.
biking and he loves skiing and he likes being outside and being active and he loves boating. He loves anything involving a water. So I
Mm.
try to when we go on trips together, I try to involve a water activity. Even a ferry ride is
Right.
good
That's
enough for
nice.
him.
Yeah. So does he come to most of your races or how does that work?
Yeah, he'll come to the big ones,
Okay.
especially, but if I'm driving to Wisconsin or something, he
Yeah.
won't. Yeah, we have a camper van, so I'll just drive the camper van myself and then park
That's fun.
on the street next to the start line. Oh my god, I love it. I love
That
I
actually
love
is
our van.
that's a pro move right there. Just
It's
find a parking spot. Don't need to worry about hotels or yeah. Mm.
yeah, at the
Yeah.
start line, I just, pop out like a queen and I'm good to go.
There you go. Yeah,
You know?
I was going to say I've got a guy who is planning this summer to do 55Ks in 50
Mhm.
states in 50 days. So and
Oh,
him
who's
and his
that?
wife, his name's Sean Conlon, and so
I
him and
don't
his
know him.
wife lived in an RV for a number of years as well. So that's
Yeah.
what they're going to do. They're essentially like going to take an RV and drive around the country and yeah,
Mhm.
I just think that's really cool. What a
Oh, s
fun way to do it.
So when I sold the company, I started saying, I want an RV. I want one of these
Yeah.
vans. I always love these vans. These are super cool. And he kind of blew me off. And then I started looking, rvtrader.com, to get an idea of pricing and all this stuff, is doing my research. And I finally found one on Craigslist of all places in
Wow.
Phoenix, Arizona. And my old roommate, JT, lives down there. And so then I wired all this money to a guy I never met from Craigslist to some random bank account in Salt Lake City. And JT picked up the keys for me and we went down 2 months later and got it.
That's amazing.
So we drove home via the Grand Canyon and Moab because I think if you get a camper, it's mandatory that you go to Utah on your very first trip.
Well, yeah.
Everybody goes to Utah. It's amazing. And he didn't really get it that I wanted this van until I was like, well, I got to finish my 50 states. And then he went, aha, the lights went off. It was like I needed a justification for
Yeah.
him to get it, for him to be on board with it.
Yeah.
And so we did, and I thought we would be driving it to Maine. The plan was to drive it to Maine, leave it there with a friend, and then do all these little states.
Yeah.
Well, it just didn't work out with our schedule and the timing and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And so I ended up flying back and forth by myself. But he did come with me to Maine. We ran Sugarloaf, which was dangerous on a single highway. But okay, I finished.
Yeah. Whew.
So so he'll come on a lot of adventures with me, and then I have a lot of marathon friends like Christine, and the people in my club are great. And then you meet people on the road,
Yes.
and like in Japan, I was trying to hook up with 20 people, and I know you told me your coach was there, and another person that you knew, and so there's like 20 people on my list that I'm trying to get a
Right.
hold of, and I saw 3 of them
That's
at the
pretty
expo.
impressive, actually. That's impressive that you got to 3 because, yeah, I get it. It's a lot.
And then I saw the one guy, Tom, during the race. after his bathroom, he had gotten behind me, and then he found me ahead of him. So we
Ah,
ran together for like 5
that's
minutes, and so
nice.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so traveling has just been such a huge fun part of it. It does give you a purpose to see the country and
Mhm.
explore different areas.
Yeah. I've been to
Yeah.
every state in the United States.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we did
And
RV trips when I was a kid. So I haven't run in every state, but maybe
mhm.
someday that'll happen. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your husband going with you too?
He will sometimes. Yeah. Kind of
Mhm.
similar. Where he used to be a runner, not as much
Yep.
now, but yeah.
Yeah, because
But
he did some marathons with you.
he did the one and
He
done.
did one.
So we'll take it. I'll
So
take
one
it.
and done.
Gonna try to get him
Yeah.
back. We'll see. But I want to talk to you
Mhm.
before I forget and before we run out of time. I want to talk to you
Yeah.
about Antarctica and penguins.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so because when it was really cold, which I shouldn't talk to somebody who's from Minnesota about the cold, but it was like -10 and I did a run and it
Oh,
was
yeah.
really cold. And we're just all talking. We're
Yeah.
like, how do people run a marathon in Antarctica? How does that even happen? Like, what do you wear? How does it work? So I would love to hear from you what that experience was like. And what year did you go there?
I went in January of 2024. Yeah,
Okay.
or I'm sorry, I went in March of 2024.
Okay. And did you do boat or plane?
I did the boat through Marathon Tours, and I was on their waiting list for 3 years. So as soon as I
What?
sold my company, I signed up for this waiting list for Antarctica.
Oh my gosh.
It was
PSA
my
for
retirement
anybody
trip.
who's thinking about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sign up
My
now.
friend
Yeah, 'cause
Christy.
yeah. So there's a couple options you can take through some other different companies, like a
Okay.
plane, and depending on where they go also. So we flew down to Buenos Aires. In fact, this little shirt I have is from Buenos
Oh,
Aires. So cute.
amazing.
So cute. Made in Argentina. I like to buy souvenirs that I would actually wear,
I like
you
that
know,
idea. Yeah.
instead of a trinket. So yeah, we flew down with Marathon Tours, Buenos Aires, then to Ushuaia on the tip, and then we got on a boat,
I can't
600
imagine the
miles
boat.
across the Drake Passage.
No. Mm.
And we had the Drake Lake. It was flat for our trip. A lot of
Oh,
times it's
okay. I've seen videos of what do they call it? The Drake Shake, where you're like
yes.
35-foot
Oops.
waves. I'm just watching that and thinking like, oh,
Fortunately, we did not have that. Oh, so
that's,
glad. But we still took the seasickness pills. And
yeah,
then when we arrived in Antarctica on Sunday, they said, stop taking your pills so you can do the marathon the next day on Monday
right. Yeah,
because
makes
they make you
sense.
sleepy. I
Yeah,
fell
they do.
asleep during the penguin lecture.
Oh no.
I know. I know. Oh, the penguins down there are adorable. They're so cute. Like, I just want to go up and give them a big hug.
Yeah.
So, so cute.
Is that where you fell in love with penguins when you went to Antarctica, or did you already have that love of penguins?
Well, of course. Of course, I always thought they were super cute, but seeing them in person just reinforces that. So
Right.
I kind of made this funny goal that I should go see all the penguins in the world. There's 19 species of penguins, and they're all in the southern hemisphere. The ones in the Galapagos are only 1 degree below the southern hemisphere. And we
Okay.
were in the Galapagos, but we didn't go to that island. And I was so mad because there's 7 islands there you can visit. So we have to go back to the
Yeah,
Galapagos.
geez.
And there are some places you can volunteer for the penguins. Like in South Africa, they have a program where you go in there and you count the penguins
Oh, sign me up.
just to maintain some
Mm-hmm.
ecology program. Like, I'm a biologist, I can do this. I
Yeah.
can count
Cool.
penguins.
Mm-hmm.
But I also kind of like the giant turtles everywhere, which is why I want to go to the Galapagos.
Wow.
And that's why the reptile gardens in Rapid City, South Dakota is my favorite zoo. Yeah.
Okay. Never
Always
heard even
stop
heard
at
of
the
it.
reptile gardens. It's small. You can get through it in an hour and really cool.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So yeah, so I love the penguins. And so we went down in March, which is the end of springtime for them. So it's fall.
Okay.
For the southern hemisphere. I think the tourist season is January through March. And so it was only like 30 some degrees when we did the race. And it was a little foggy, misty. And so I had on shorts with wind pants over them.
Okay.
Perfectly comfortable the whole time. And then I have a sweatshirt with a big hoodie that covers my face if I want. So I get wind block.
Okay.
And then I wear clear goggles because it was cloudy. And then I have a hat with a brim.
Nice.
So when we first started, I got damp because from all the fog.
Yeah.
But then the fog started burning off and I started getting drier and I was able to take my jacket off and run without that.
Wow.
And so it wasn't a problem at all where I'm not running in the cold. I know there are some other parts of Antarctica, like they go off the coast of South Africa where it's in the snow and it's wind blowing and it's cold. And so you talked about running in 10 degrees below zero. So my coldest marathon was 10 degrees below zero.
Marathon.
Full marathon
Sally.
in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The Groundhog Day marathon. It was February 2nd,
Whoa.
which I won my age group.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. But it was also super beautiful because it had been so cold. All the fog crystallized on the trees, so they were white
Yes, I
and
can picture it.
beautiful. It was amazing. And the key for when it gets that cold, I wear long pants underneath my wind pants. But the key is, I think, is wind pants because that keeps the wind from blowing the heat away. So I know some
Yeah.
people get sweaty, but wind pants work for me. So long tights, wind pants, and on that time I did put toe warmers inside my shoes, but I don't put them under my feet on
Right.
the
That would
soles of
be
my feet.
too hard.
I
Yeah.
I put them on the tops of my toes,
Mm-hmm.
and then wearing trail shoes with a thicker sole will make a
Yeah.
difference. And then I have the hot pocket heat warmers for my hands as well. And then again, I have an underlayer shirt, a warm layer, a sweatshirt on top of that, and then a lighter jacket that's wind resistant, with pockets. And that'll often end up unzipping. And for me, it's keeping my face warm. So
Yeah.
I wear a full ski mask and ski goggles when it's that cold.
Yeah.
And then, of course, have the hat on top. And then I can pull up my hoodie if I want. So I keep perfectly toasty.
Wow.
If it's super
Yeah.
windy and my face mask and my goggles are on, I'm good. I have a pair of ski goggles an old pair where the
Mhm.
straps all broke and everything, but they're perfect for
Yeah.
running
You're like,
in.
perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I have an outfit for every 10 degrees of temperature difference. And I have a long coat that I got from Costco. It's their cheap $20 Eddie Bauer coat with minimal fill in it. And I find that is perfect when it starts getting 20 degrees or colder because it's long enough where it covers my hips. It's my hips that get cold of all
Right.
weird places.
Yeah.
And actually, in that race, I started out with a little insulated skirt on first to keep my hips a little warmer, and then took that off before the halfway mark. And this cheapo coat from Costco, yeah, it's just long enough to keep my hips warm, but light enough where I don't really get sweaty. And
Hmm.
if it's windy, it protects from that, and it has a small hood. It doesn't cover my face, but it goes over your head. So
Yeah.
I experiment with a lot of that kind of combination.
Makes
Pants,
sense.
tights or shorts, wind pants. If it's around 30 degrees, shorts and a wind pants work the best.
Mm.
If it's 20 degrees, long pants and wind pants.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Man, I can't believe you ran a marathon in -10. It's crazy.
I know.
Um, I want to ask a quick question, and then I'm going to ask at the end of the podcast questions. I'm curious about your spreadsheet, Sally, because I have a spreadsheet as well.
Yeah.
But I really just keep it's like what the race was, and then I have column for each year, and then I put in the times, but that's really it. What does your spreadsheet include?
Yeah. My spreadsheet is, a line item for each marathon, chronological order. And then I have the number. And then I have the unofficial number, my number. Because, like I said, I have 4 now that don't count.
Right.
So I got the official count. I had to add a column for the unofficial count, my personal count. And then I added state, country, world marathon, continent. So which continent am
Yeah.
I on? So I'm on 4 continents. I have to do South Africa, South America, and Australia yet.
Okay.
So hoping to do Queenstown, New Zealand sometime.
Ooh, yeah. Man.
That's bucket list there.
Yeah. So do you put in notes or anything either?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's smart.
So then I have the race, city, state, time, bib. And then I used to put on the column do I have the race certificate? Because you need the paper certificate.
Oh, right.
So yes or no, did I get a certificate? And now it's all yeah, I got the PDF. So for
Right.
my 50 states, I actually have to submit paper copies of all my finish times. They won't accept an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty
I know.
wild.
There's a form. There's an application. You have to apply. And then Betty, she checks.
God bless Betty. She keeps you honest.
Yeah.
Wow.
50 states.
Wow. That's cool.
And I still have to do that even though I finished in August. I haven't filled out the paperwork yet.
Yeah. Well,
So
that
I'm
sounds
unofficial.
daunting. Okay.
Fishy state. And then I have a notes column, that usually kind of started out, did I register? Did I not register? And now it's yeah, I signed up. I'm going to drive the van. I'm going to meet Levi there at the start. We're going to stay at this hotel. And on the way, I met Christine and Allie, and we're doing this, and we're staying there. And so now it's all and then after the race, I usually have a big recap. And again, the recap goes in that same column. And now for Tokyo, I wrote something like 3 pages of recap for my Tokyo.
Right. Well, when I do race recaps, yeah, depends. I like to do it so that I can, remember what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you always learn something.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that only having basically 16 ounces of liquid before the race was just fine.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
know, not having all those electrolytes the night before was fine.
Hmm.
Because there's things you change over the years and you start doing and kind of become habit. And so maybe I'm doing all these extra things that I don't really need to.
Right.
And I always tend to carry more stuff with me than I need. And so do I really need to do that anymore?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, during a race, I really try to go without a waist belt. But because I had that Depends with me, I
It was
had the race
necessary.
belt.
Yeah, that's so
It wasn't
good.
necessary. I can't stuff that into my shorts without it looking really funny.
Really ridiculous. Yeah, they're gonna be like, "Wow, look at this lady. She's pregnant running the race." Got it all shoved in your
What is
shorts.
what is
Yeah.
that bulge?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to ask you the end of the podcast questions.
All right.
I mean, shoot, I should have just had you open your spreadsheet and we just like go line by line just to hear a tidbit about all your races, but maybe some other time. Okay. So I'm going to ask you the end of the podcast questions and then we'll fill in anything else you feel like you left out or you want to speak on. But the first one is, what is your running mantra and or song?
Oh, my song. Mariah Carey, Make It Happen.
Which I don't know if I've heard that song or have I, and I just don't know that that's what it's
You
called.
have.
Okay.
Make it happen.
I don't know. I don't know if I have.
Part of the song is one time she didn't have enough to eat, is desperate to be a successful. You just got to make it happen.
I'll listen to it. I'm sure I've heard
Make
it.
it happen. I should know these lyrics. I've heard the
Yeah.
song 1,000 times. Right?
Well, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
And then do you use a mantra at all?
For Tokyo, my mantra was run your race. Keep your same pace. Don't hurry. Calm down. Relax. You can do this. You've
Yeah.
got this. You can do this. So that I usually don't have much of a mantra, but I really needed it for that race. So I could stay calm. It was like, you've thought everything through. You have your time chart and your goals. Don't have to get anxious about this. Just take it easy.
Yes.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Just make it happen.
I planned a lot. I'm good. So yeah, that's an important and things like, oh, you're okay. You can keep going. Oh, a lot of marathons. It's just a 20-mile training run with an extra 6.
Right. That's a good one. I like that because it's true. Just training run and then a little 10K. That's it.
Yeah. The easy peasy. You're done.
Yeah. No problem. Okay. And then next finish line or milestone. So obviously we've talked about the big milestone of 200 marathons that's out there.
Yes.
What is your very next race?
Biggie. Well, I'm still planning that. I'm looking at maybe there's some here in March that I'm looking at, but it could be Champaign, Illinois. That's the end of April. Oh, when is this going to air? It's like before or after the Indy Mini?
It should be. It'll be before the Mini. Yeah.
Because I was looking at doing that and actually bringing my little trade show booth. I think it'd be super fun to see you in person and hang out.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm hoping I can do the Indy Mini.
Yes, this will come out before the end of March. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I'm hoping I can do the Indy Mini because it sounds so fun. And my brother's a total motorhead, and we were at the Speedway last year.
Yeah.
So I want to make that happen.
Yeah, but it's only quote unquote only a half.
It's only a half, but it's a great training run. But if I do Champaign, Illinois, the Sunday before,
right,
then it's just a recovery workout.
Just a little cool down. Yeah, right.
It's a cool down. Yeah, so I could do Champaign. I could drive the camper to Champaign, then head over to Indianapolis and do the Mini, and then go home.
Or you can go. Then you can go to Cincinnati and run the Flying Pig the next day after the Indy Mini.
Flying Pig, is that one full? I've heard really good things about Flying Pig.
I don't think they sell out this early. I would check it out. It's very hilly, but people love it.
I've heard.
Yeah. So I've never done it, but it looks fun.
Okay. And when is Carmel? You said that's coming up.
It is April 18th. So it's coming up. Yeah.
That could work in my schedule too.
There you go.
For sure, the big one's coming up. We're signed up for Grandma's Marathon in June. It's like June 20th. And then Twin Cities Marathon is like October 1st or something. I signed up for that one. My nephew is currently in Slovenia till May. And so I'm trying to find a race over there.
Yeah.
That I can hop over to Slovenia and run a marathon along the way.
Right. Yeah.
Crash in his studio.
There you go. That's funny. Well, that's a great excuse to go.
Yeah. So my husband says, do you have to run a marathon on every vacation? Yeah. Why would you not?
Yeah. And do you know me? Have you met me?
Have you met me? I was doing this before we met.
Yeah.
You knew the deal. Yeah, I love it when he comes to see me on the course and he rides
That's
his
really
bike,
special.
you know,
Yeah.
especially places that have bike trails. So I'm always trying to sell him on, well, this one has a bike trail and this one has a downtown and this one has a little marina. He's a good sport. It's a really good sport.
That is good. All right. Well, I'm so glad that we got to do this. Is there anything else you want
Yes.
to add before I wrap?
I am raising $1 million for medical research to help these kids because you can't have the cures unless you have the background R&D going along. And I've seen that my entire career, the success of all these scientists. And we're currently supporting one of the labs at the University of Minnesota that is working on pediatric brain cancer.
Wow.
And they have some treatments that are really promising. But this treatment is shown to work in pediatric brain cancer, and it's also shown to work in breast cancer that has metastasized into the brain. And that truly is a game changer, especially since they're still looking at it with other cancers. So this could have a huge domino effect with other cancers that metastasize into the brain. So consider making a donation at unstoppablestoriesthatmove.com.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much,
That's my
Sally,
problem.
for doing this.
Yes, thank
And
you, Allie. It's been great.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you to everybody who has listened to this, and happy running.
Yes, you too. Okay, ciao.
If you enjoyed this episode of Finish Lines and Milestones from Sandy Boy Productions, please share, rate, review. This helps others find the show, and I so appreciate your support in helping me spread the word so that we can share more of these incredible stories. I will see you again next week. Bye.